What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So this morning we got a huge news drop from Sony, and it is the official release of the PlayStation 5, when that is going to be. Now, this isn't a big surprise. They are releasing it in holiday 2020. I mean, that is like perfect timing. Everyone thought that's when it was going to be coming out. So this isn't a big surprise, but now it is official that it is called the PlayStation 5, first of all, and is going to be released in holiday 2020. Now, there's a lot of information. There was a big interview that Jim Ryan did with Wired where he gave out all of this information, talked about the PlayStation 5, answered some burning questions, and talked about a brand new controller, the DualShock 5, or it's not really named yet, but that's what we're going to call it. Let's jump into that. So starting here with the Wired interview, this came out this morning at 8 a.m. and Jim Ryan talked about one thing that a lot of people had questions about, which is important that we know now, is that the PlayStation 5 will have ray tracing, and it won't be done through any software tricks. It will be accelerated through the GPU hardware. So it will be real ray tracing, and that is awesome to hear, awesome to see. And it'll be really fun to see just how good the games look and how developers are going to utilize ray tracing in their games. Now, he then went on to talk about stuff that we already know, specifically that it is going to have an SSD and how the SSD will improve the PlayStation 5 on load times and how you can install things when you're installing your games onto your PS5. One of the most interesting things that I read from this article is you're going to be able to kind of go into finer grains and how you're installing games if you buy the optical disc, and you're going to be able to choose if you just want to install the multiplayer or just want to install the single player or both all at once. And if you're done, let's say with the single player, you can uninstall to create space on your hard drive and just have the multiplayer of a game that you're playing, which is really cool to see because right now, obviously with the Xbox One and the PS5, for the majority of games, when you put in your disc, it installs everything. And if you just want to, you play the campaign and you don't want to touch it anymore and you just want to play the multiplayer, you can't do that. And you take up so much space on your hard drive for something that you're not really touching that much. Now, another big upgrade is going to be the optical disc drive. They're going to be 100 gigabytes. Obviously, right now, they're just using the 50 gigabyte Blu-ray discs on the PS4. The PS5 is going to be 100 gigabyte optical discs, and it's going to be in a 4K Blu-ray player on the PS5. Not too surprising, but the 100 gigabyte optical disc will make a big difference because the games are getting massive now. I mean, majority of them are over 50 gigabytes. You know, when you put in that disc, you have to install it, then have to do an additional download and stuff. So they're all getting huge. So that 100 gigabyte optical disc will really be helpful. So staying on the SSD, there was also more information and a deeper dive into how it's really going to increase the experience on the PS5 and obviously load times. But on top of that, the way that developers utilize the SSD is going to be up to each developer, and it can really either create way faster games or it can also create way larger games. So there's not going to be any duplication of the hard drive trying to read the same information over and over again for assets. So then the developers can use that extra space and create bigger games because they're only going to have to read it once, or just create smaller games that just load in, which is awesome. Because the biggest difference, at least for me, because I play games on PC a lot now, is the load time. So when you're playing the same game on a console, comparing it to a PC, you're sitting there for a significantly longer time waiting for that game to load. And that actually makes a big difference in the experience. When you want to play a game, a lot of people, I know for myself, and even like they said here in mobile, you start a game, you kind of want to play it instantly. You don't really want to sit there and wait for things to load and load. It takes away from the experience and it takes away from the fun factor. The fact that it's going to be a lot faster, I think, is huge for the PS5 and for the next generation of consoles in general. Now, the user interface on the PS4, from this article, it sounds like it's going to be completely wiped away. And there's going to be a brand new user interface with a lot more features for users, which is awesome. So here it says the PS4 bare bones home screen at time feels frozen in amber. You can see what your friends have recently done, or even that game title that they may be playing at the moment, but without launching an individual title, there's no way to tell what single player missions that you could do with them or what multiplayer matches you could join. Now, it seems like this cumbersome part of the PS4's interface is going to be gone away with, and you're going to be able to see everything that your friends are doing on the PS5 right through their user interface, which is great news. The PS4 interface, I don't think, is nearly as good and well fleshed out as, I mean, even the Xbox One interface. So the fact that they're going to be upgrading that, I think, is a big deal. And we obviously don't know what it looks like yet, but just that they've recognized that that's a problem, I'm very excited about. It says here the PS5 will change that. Even though it will be fairly fast to boot games, we don't want the player to have to boot the game to see what's up. So basically they're saying you're going to be able to see everything from the user interface and not actually have to go into game. And it really helps you decide what games you want to play that day, which is a good thing. And then finally, the other big thing that was dropped on this article was the next generation controllers. They're not calling it the DualShock 5 yet. There's no official name, but like we can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be called the DualShock 5. They said the same thing with the PS5 when they gave out information about it. They said they didn't have a name for it, and what it ended up being called the PS5. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be called the DualShock 5. If it isn't, I will be very, very shocked. But they had a prototype controller, and they let the people at Wired, the interviewers, play around with it and play some games with this prototype controller. And the additional things that we're seeing from this article is that it's going to have haptic feedback. So here's the PS4, DualShock 4. In the sections here and here, you're going to be able to have different motors, kind of depending on what you're doing. It's going to feel different, and the triggers are going to have the adaptive triggers in it. So if you're playing a racing game and you're hitting the gas or you're spitting out, it's going to feel different. Or if you're going through sand or something, it's going to feel different when you hit the triggers. Or if you're shooting a weapon, it's going to feel different. Very similar to what the Xbox One controllers already have, I believe. Obviously, they couldn't put them in these triggers just by like the way that they're designed. So they're probably going to be completely different on the DualShock 5, but that is the big update. So haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and also there's going to be a better speaker on the controller. And we know that Sony has also filed that patent for AI voice recognition. If you need help in a game, you say something and then it listens to what you're asking and then it shows you help in the game, which I mean, I guess games these days are too hard for some people that you have to ask. But anyways, that's probably going to be built into the controller as well, just like a mic. So if you need help, you're going to ask the controller, show me where this is, and it'll probably show you where it is. But that's speculation right now. But it is confirmed that the DualShock 5, even though that's not its name, is going to have haptic feedback triggers and haptic feedback on the controller and adaptive triggers. It's also going to use USB-C to charge, which is a good thing. I mean, USB-C should be standard for everything now. Now, there were no launch games or anything announced that they wanted to bring up yet. That won't be for a while. Probably at E3. Like, this E3 is going to be great. We're going to see tons of the PS5, most likely, and we're going to just see maybe some games, and we're going to actually see the console itself. We'll probably see the controller, stuff like that. So I'm really excited for the upcoming E3 or whenever they decide to show it off, but it'll probably be around that time. That was pretty much it. They kind of just talked about PlayStation 5 is coming, holiday 2020, updated controller, SSD is going to be great. And then they just said, you still have great games coming out for the PlayStation 4. Like it says here, The Last of Us 2 and The Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, that's true. There's still great stuff coming out for the PS4. PS5 hype is going to be awesome. I can't wait just to see more about it. And I think they did this in just an article like this rather than a big hyped event, because like you said, there's still great stuff coming out for the PS4, and they probably don't want to kill the hype on those games, and they probably want to make sure that people are still excited about the PS4, potentially go out and buy the PS4 to play these games rather than forget about it and just think about the PS5. But yeah, holiday 2020, get ready for it. Start putting your money away, start saving. We don't have a price yet. I'm thinking $499. That's where I'm thinking it's going to land, because there's a lot of expensive hardware in this, especially with the updated controllers and everything. And we'll just have to wait and see if that's the price they're going to land on. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Are you excited for the PlayStation 5? What do you think about these announcements? Are you happy with the release date? Are you happy with the updated controllers? I would love to know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Maybe share this video around. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next video.